and welcome back to the Hype Bulletin, hosted by yours truly, Ralph Mentor. Now, if you guys are listening on you guys are watching and listening on the YouTube side, please subscribe. Please press on the subscribe button to help support the podcast. Still can't get it right still. And if you guys are listening on the podcast platforms like Apple, Spotify, and Amazon and all, Overcast too as well. Shout out to their partnership too as well. Honestly, please leave us a rating, add us to your library too as well, so you guys can listen to further episodes and all too as well. And all shout out to me and my hiatus again. Can't help it and all too as well. But as I've been mentioning, building up a shop, getting closer to that too as well. It looks like we're partnering with the studio too as well, honestly, and all out here in Atlanta. More details in the future with that too as well, near future with that too as well, honestly, to help support the shop and hopefully support the podcast too as well, honestly. But yeah, that's what my reason for the hiatus and why for the OKC Thunder did win the championship, and also as a resident hater, at least, there was no reason for me to record their triumphant winning, at least, and all too as well. Unfortunate that Halliburton did suffer an Achilles injury similar to Jason Tatum and Damian Lillard, the number zeros in these years' playoffs, at least, but unfortunately had an Achilles injury in Game 7 and all after a hot start, apparently, too, as well, knocking down the few threes in the first quarter before that injury and all too as well. But we'll get into the NBA season and all. I kind of anticipated myself talking about the NBA offseason and talking about winners and losers and all too as well. But it looks like I'm subsiding that to September and all too as well, because we got the Boston Red Sox entering this podcast and all outside of a big trade or a seismic trade, like similar to Luka Doncic and all too as well, to Rafael Devers getting moved all to the Giants and all. We'll get into the difference on how that's looking all too as well after 20 and somewhat games from that trade, at least. But as you can see, to the side of me, however you guys see it, there we go, I'm pointing now in the right direction, at least. If you guys are watching on the YouTube side, but the Red Sox going into the All-Star break have won 10 straight games through the last 10 games. I don't know how else to say it, at least, and all, to put themselves in position as the second wild card team right now, going into the last weekend of the first half, technically, quote unquote, of the first half, at least. And all the Sox were behind the Tampa Bay Rays. Almost keep saying Devil Rays, because that's what they were formerly named, at least, But the Tampa Bay Rays were in second place of the wild card. The Sox were sitting, nipping at their butts, pause, at least, but nipping at them at the third seed, at least, too, as well. And then they were able to go on and sweep the Tampa Bay Rays the way they were. I'll get into details and all too as well. But the level of excitement that I'm feeling from this team right now too as well, it's hard to ignore and not introduce them to outside of a big trade like I mentioned and all. Talk about at least baseball play of how well they've been playing over the last 10 games or so, honestly, too. So I think I saw a record of them being 16-9 in their last 25 games, if my math is correct, at least, and all. And you're looking at somebody that was hoping from the middle of June going into the All-Star break, they would go 19-11 there. At that point, I think they were sitting like 37 and 34, 38 and 34. There are a couple, there are a few games above, below 500 at least. But I was hoping outside because of the AL. You're looking at an AL right now that going into that time at least only had one 50-win team at least. All of the Detroit Tigers at that time. Now they got like 7 of them, I believe, and all 4 of them in the AL East right now too as well, including those Boston Red Sox and all too as well. But things weren't looking so great for the Boston Red Sox, at least, and all too as well. Again, to why the excitement, in my opinion, is pretty high right now too as well, and it should be from the way they're playing, at least, and all too as well, winning 10 straight games and all too as well. Teams that won 10 straight games from recent history, from what I saw on SportsCenter, at least, and all, included these Boston Red Sox in 2018 and all, a 2022 Seattle Mariners team too as well, honestly, that didn't go to the World Series. There were 2 other teams. I believe the Dodgers were one of them. I think it was the Houston Astros as the other one, but those 2 teams ultimately won themselves a World Series while having a 10-game winning streak and all too as well. Based on where the Sox were just a month ago, it's going to be hard to really stretch a World Series contention type of team right now. You just want to make the playoffs and all too as well, but can't argue about the way they're playing and all too as well. Now I'll start getting into it and all too as well. I got a little script build up and all too as well, so mind me. And also, that's, like I said, I was hoping the Sox would go 19-11 in this stretch where they can get themselves above 50 wins and all. They ended up going 20-10 in that stretch too as well, honestly, and it really capped off in this past series against the Tampa Bay Rays. And also, let me find my way in this script real real quick. Yep. All right, here we go. The Sox ended up going, 20-10 and have won their last 10 games in a row. Going into the All-Star break and all too, so with them capping a big 4-game sweep over those Tampa Bay Rays that I've been mentioning and all too as well. Going into Game 1, finally got yourself a quality start from Walker Buehler and all, going 6 innings, giving up I believe 3 runs and all too as well. Didn't like it. I didn't like it. I think the control wasn't there at least, no, but at least shout out to him. He's had back-to-back games where he's kept the team in the game, at least where the offense can make their things happen. At least in that game, got a big hit from Roman Anthony in the early innings to get that early run at least when they were down 3-1 after Walker Buehler left and all. Then Marcelo Meyer had a big double down towards the left field monster wall at least to bring in a run, or to bring in a run I believe too. It was also Ceddanne Rafaela, if not bringing 2 runs I believe in all too. It was on the Ceddanne Rafaela had the walk, not the walk, well walk off in the next game at least but in this game had himself a game-winning hit at least too as well to cinch the game and a comeback win for the Red Sox at least in Game 1 of this series. And in Game 2 we had who started in that game. Let me look back at the script at least too as well. I'm sleeping on who pitched Game 2. Was it Gio? No, it was Hunter Dobbins that pitched in Game 2, and that's why he got hurt. Unfortunately, tore his ACL and all too as well. So now he's out for the season, just coming off of an injury too as well. I believe it was some type of tired arm. I believe he was dealing with an elbow, and I remember the Angels start he had just couldn't find his control at least. So I think he was on the IL, 10-day IL injured list at least too as well. For the reason why he was up, but it ended up coming back in this game and all. Ended up landing in the first base bag wrong, unfortunately and all too as well. Bit of a high throw by Toro at least, but still a freak injury and all. It ended up sounding like it ended up being ended up for him tearing his ACL at least all too. So now he's out most likely for the rest of the season at least, probably in the beginning half of next season at least. But you had a big game from your bullpen and all too as well. And I have the stats ready for when we get into the stats of their run at least over the past 10 games, and you can say over the last 20 to 30 games of the Boston Red Sox at least. But the bullpen had themselves a big game, and I believe Alcala pitched in that game. We had Bernardino pitched in that game too as well outside the bullpen. I think Murphy ended up finishing and all. I believe we saw Weissart too as well on Sunday. But I be in and out of these baseball games, so please bear with me and all too as well. But still, they had themselves a huge game and all, able to keep the Tampa Bay Rays at hold, even losing your starter in the second inning and all too as well. Set it up the fireworks for Ceddanne Rafaela, who had a big walk-off home run and in this game and all. For the copyright issues, I would play that sound right now, but I don't got copyright rights yet to be doing all that and all too as well. YouTube will be like knocking down my shit and all too as well. Not even gonna lie, but still. But a big walk-off win and all too as well. Big frenzy at Fenway Park and all too as well after that game and all too as well, able to at least guarantee a split after those 2 games and all. But you got Crochet Day on Saturday and all, had himself another complete game by at least the top 3 starters and all too as well, with him only throwing 100 pitches and essentially winning that game in the 1-0 game, where the Rays made themselves error that eventually got Meyer to score and all too as well from what's it called, the third baseman was blocking the third base from Marcelo Meyer to get back to at least and all too as well. Apparently that's an obstruction call, and that ended up forcing Meyer into home plate and all too as well, based off I guess off a rule at least and all too. I was going to say technicality, it's not technicality, it's a rule. And the obstruction rule at least favored the Sox at least and all. They were able to get that only run they scored. Crochet nailed the coffin and all. There was a big play, I believe, in the middle innings. I think like 3rd, 4th, or 5th inning. I can't remember which inning at least. But Toro had himself a huge play at home plate where they were able to tag the runner there too, who was trying to score off of a third base bunt, or off of third base from a bunt from the batter at least too as well. And they were able to nail that down. Crochet was able to nail the rest of the game down too as well. And the Sox were able to win Game 3 on Saturday afternoon and all, and able to cinch it in Game 4 with Brian Bale, which stats I'll get into as well after this little diatribe and soliloquy from me at least all too as well. But was able to have himself another great game off of a complete game against the Rockies and all too as well. Like I said, him, Giolito, and Crochet in this stretch all had complete games. Now that just hit me like yesterday too, while I was building the script and all for this podcast. But all three of them in this stretch have had a complete game throughout this run and all too as well, honestly. But Brian Bailey wasn't able to do that again, at least not. But in this game, was able to go into the seventh inning and all. I believe only just gave up that one run and all too as well. I like the analysis I was listening to on other podcasts and all. In past moments where things were a little ruffly, he would have probably given up some runs and all too as well. Has been able to stand tall in this run and all too as well. This past, I would say, 6 starts and all too as well. I have the stats and all, but able to stand tall, go into the seventh inning and all too as well, based off a well-rested bullpen and all, because the long guys were able to go in game 2 and all. Game 1, what's it called? Buehler still won his 6 innings. So I think he got into the 7th inning before they pulled him and all too as well. But still, light work for the bullpen. The long guys were able to go long in game 2 and all. Crochet completed the game, so nobody pitched from the bullpen in game 3 at least. And also again, Brian Bayo, at least 6 in the third, I think, innings strong, able to have a light work for the bullpen. I believe Wick Block pitched. Obviously, Chapman closed it out after Ceddanne Rafaela hit another home run to basically cinch the game, at least and all too as well, with Chapman coming into the ninth and closing it out for the Sox, at least and all too as well. So it's just been a great run and all too as well. Has dropped a tear in my eye a bit too as well to see the young guys just participating in this run. I was, not even we're talking about like the young guys, the obvious young guys with Roman Anthony. I'll talk about his stats and all over the last 9 games. And all too as well, obviously Marcelo Meyer, Ceddanne Rafaela, who I've mentioned like 3 times from this series, and all too as well. We'll get into his stats since the Devers trade, at least, and all too as well. But outside of those, you were talking about Crochet too as well as a young guy. Talking about Giolito's a fair young guy, at least. No, I just found out he's 31 years old. But Brian Bayo is turning out, has been a young guy who's struggled from time to time throughout his tenure so far with the Sox, outside of his rookie year, at least known as finally over this last, these last 5 to 6 starts over this past month. Really stand out, and really look like a premier starter with his stuff. Because I've always said he's had premier stuff, at least, just hasn't been able to put it together. And you look at guys like Hunter Dommins, who unfortunately got hurt, but was a contributor to that starting rotation when he's been out there and all. Richard Fitz, who finally earned himself a win through this stretch and all too as well. But I would argue as a young guy has pitched well for this team and all too as well. So you throw all those guys in, you throw out the young guys too, even Jarren Duran, who's a vet, who's been all-star last year too as well, but still a young guy who's really looks like stepped up as more of a leader since the Devers trade too as well, honestly. So that's just been a great run with this young nucleus and all too as well. You're hoping you can get something out of Tanner Houck. You're hoping you can get something out of Walker Buehler too as well, honestly. Alex Bregman now too as well, who's come back. Masataka Yoshida has come back too as well. Honestly, both guys who have gotten hits in the short games they've been back, and all since Wednesday, at least both of them have been back. Yoshida Wednesday, Bregman on Friday for Bregman, and now Sunday. And both guys have gotten hits in the games that they've played. I think Yoshida went 3-4 in his first game and all got himself an RBI too as well. One sooner than Connor Wong and all too as well, who's gotten his jokes through his struggles at least and all too as well. But still, even through all that, the Sox are looking at a 53-45 record. Like I said, I thought it would be 19-11, so I wanted them to go 52-46, and they ended up going 53-45 going into the All-Star break, and all 3 games behind the Jays for the number one seed in the AL East and all, and 1 game behind them, the Yankees, and for the top wild card spot too as well. But they are sitting in the playoff spot right now at number 2, at least and all. I believe the Rays are sitting there behind them. If it's not the Rays, probably the Mariners too as well, because as I said, the Sox swept them, so it wouldn't surprise me if they're sitting behind the Mariners and all, who are playing pretty well going into the break, at least not too as well. I think they beat the Tigers, the best team in the AL record-wise, and all too as well, the last day of the first half, at least all too as well. But let me get into these stats and all too as well. Let me show off this Sox team and all too as well. So the first stat that I wanted to show off was the starting pitching between Bayo and Giolito, honestly, too as well. Crochet has been awesome, so there's been really nothing to complain about. I'm designing a hat with it. Red Sox hat right now, out here right now too as well, feeling the vibes. I'm working on another Red Sox hat and putting Crochet's signature on it right now too as well, honestly, because he's been that type of war dog, war pig, whatever you call him, at least. He's been a beast for this team, at least. So my optimism going to the season has been primarily Garrett Crochet, and he's been showing out, honestly, big time too. Honestly, I wanted to see who was like flashing in my side peripheral and all too as well, honestly. Yeah, I really wanted to talk about Giolito, Lucas Giolito, and Brian Bayo and all too as well. But they kind of mirror all each other, honestly, through the stretch and all too as well. So from these, at least, all right. Since here we go, I gotta read it out. Since June 10th, Garrett Crochet, Brian Bayo, and Lucas Giolito are combined 13-2 with a 1.5 ERA and all that. That's in 119 innings pitched and 21 combined runs earned, at least now between those three, at least now. You're looking at Crochet in 6 games started. He's 4-0, a 1.96 ERA. I wish I can get the strikeout numbers because this guy's leading the league in strikeouts too as well. So I think not by a considerable amount, but I think by a fair, like by 4, 6, 7 strikeouts or something like that. But then again, had a complete game against the Tampa Bay Rays on Saturday and all too as well. Brian Bayo, 6 games started, 4-2 with a 2.06 ERA with a complete game against the Rockies and all. And then Lucas Giolito is in 6 games started, 5-0 with a 0.70 ERA too as well. Honestly, I can't remember the complete game and all. It could be. I'm going to guess it could be the Nationals game, but I just don't remember. I'm going to look it up right now. I really want to remember Giolito complete game. Yeah. It's very recent. It ain't real, I'm lying. Oh. Okay, so he didn't pitch a complete game. All right, I'm misspeaking about Lucas. I really thought he pitched a complete game and all too as well. Looking for it. Let me look at his. All right, let me see what I'm missing about Giolito. What he did that's close to a complete game that's got me all sparked up about him and all. Must be against the Nationals. Yeah, he got into the 8th inning at least, not two as well. Was pulled out. He went 7 2/3 at least, no. So never mind. I'm sorry. I misspoken about Lucas Giolito having a complete game in this stretch at least, no. But to his stats at least, no, like I just mentioned at least, no, the man has a 0.70 ERA and in his last 6 starts at least, no, better than Garrett Crochet at least, no, too. So that is, that's why I'm pretty excited about his run at least, no, too. So I really thought he had a complete game, but it was that Nationals game where he went into the 8th inning at least, no, too, as well. But yeah, those three have been on to the reason, stats that I wanted to throw out to the reason why the Red Sox are on this crazy run. That's one of them at least, no, too. So I think I have like 4 or 5 reasons why they're on this run at least, no. But one of the big reasons is their pitching at least. No, this is the first half of the pitching that's been awesome at least. On the next half of their pitching, I think I have. Oh, and that's from JP Twitter. This is from Twitter, JP Long and all too as well. Might as well credentialize where I'm getting all this from too as well. But we got Boston Sports Gorder from Twitter and all too as well. I'm familiar with this guy's game at least and all too as well. But this has been the Red Sox bullpen over this, over this stretch and all too as well. Chapman been amazing at least, too as well. This stats telling me it's 1.22 ERA, and I just found out about the runs too as well. He hasn't given up a runs that I believe since like May 21st at least. Maybe just earned runs. Maybe there's an unearned run there at least, too as well. But 37-year-old looking that dominant too as well is thoroughly excited at least too as well. Garrett Whitlock and all too as well. I've heard analysis that they've pitched him less and he's looked better and all too as well. Just peep the long extension that he has too as well to his high-powered fastball too as well. He's been scoreless in 14 since scores. Okay, my bad. Scoreless in 12 of 14 innings since June, at least too as well. My bad. Hicks has looked awesome, at least too as well. There is more command that I'm seeing, at least compared to what they were saying before. At least I've never seen the before of Jordan Hicks, at least too as well, or Hicks at least but I'm seeing the now of Jordan Hicks at least. I'm very intrigued with 100 miles per hour fastball, at least on too as well. But he's looked fairly decent there too as well. Wilson has been awesome as late too as well. Reliable lefty coming out of the bullpen too as well. That's true about Murphy too as well. Honestly, hasn't given up a run in 7 2/3. Bernardino seems to be the workhorse of this bullpen and all. And that's him who you see right here on the screen, at least. I don't know if you guys are watching on the YouTube side, at least. But he's been probably the most dependent arm for Cora outside the bullpen and all too as well. Has a 3.49 ERA overall and has 8 straight scoreless innings and all too as well. This is when did they drop this? On June 12th. So this is after the let me check. When was June 12th and all too as well. So this is after Saturday, at least and all too, going into Sunday's last game of it, of the series, of the last game of the last game of the first half going into the All-Star break and all too as well. Alcala, a guy they've picked up from the Minnesota Twins too as well, has given them awesome innings throughout this stretch. Has a 0.87 ERA in the last 11 games with the Sox and all, and Weiser too as well, who's had his inconsistent season all too as well, but still posting a 3.27 ERA and all. So that's been a huge side to why this Red Sox has been on this run too as well. Honestly, he's still, to me, I've heard they've played better defense. I don't know. I think they've responded when they've made their mistakes defensively and base running wise too as well. The base running mistakes they've made, I don't mind because it just shows their aggressiveness on the bases and all too as well. And they've done more good than bad on the bases and all too as well. You got guys like Jarren Duran with I think hitting if not close to 20 stolen bases. You got a guy like Trevor Story, I believe, was like 14 for 14 with stolen bases too as well. Honestly, Roman Anthony, guy as a guy that's known as a smasher, and I'll get into his stats and all lately, but he's given them a few stolen bases too since he's been on the roster too as well. Honestly, so I do not mind the aggressiveness and all. Seeing Jarren Duran sprint out of a box too as well and force stretch a single into a double too as well is awesome to watch too as well. So I got no problem with the team and their aggressiveness on the base running. I do want them to clean it up, fielding wise at least not too as well. I don't like it from time to time, even though Trevor Story had himself a sick ass play. I believe it was on Sunday, looking like Derek Jeter with the catch, with the backhanded catch. At the shortstop and then jumping and flipping that thing all the way to first base at least. Just an awesome damn play at least. Really showing off his athleticism. I find it ironic the guy in a contract here is finally playing the way he's playing. But the way they're playing, I'm not going to complain at least. And all, please ride the vibes if it's going to work out at least and all too as well. But again, that's just the pitching side I was mentioning and all too as well. Things that I'm hoping they can get better is obviously their fielding and all too as well. I did mention Toro had a huge play on Saturday to make sure that the Crochet start was a shutout at least and all too as well. And also I cannot. The last time Crochet went 9 innings, it was a tie game at least against some Yankees and all too as well. But still, but that if there's anything to get better, it's definitely the fielding and all too as well. It's progressing. I won't say it's not progressing, but they are sitting their top 5, I believe, in errors, in total errors in the MLB at least. And also that's something with the Sox. I hope they clean up and all. But let's talk about the bats real quick and all too as well. And there's one bat that I'm loving right now too as well. And that face right there, whatever. Yeah. That face is appropriate at least all too as well. The screen is here. You guys are just seeing it here. Maybe I'll change the orientation in the future at least and all. But still, since the Rafael Devers trade, Ceddanne Rafaela has stepped up big time and all too as well. And I feel like ever since I coined him Rafi and all, because he's the new Rafi obviously and all too as well on Twitter, as you can see on Twitter and all, I feel like he's just been on a tear and all too as well. I'm not taking all that credit and all too as well. His approach seems to be different and all too as well. Again, aggressive, which I don't mind and all, but it seems to be his bat placement seems to be a whole lot better too, or just seeing the ball better honestly too as well is probably what's helping with the bat placement too as well. But let's look at these numbers. Rafaela versus Rafael, you know what I mean, since June 20th and all too as well. You're looking at Rafael Devers. Let's do Rafael Devers numbers first. He's battling 211 and all. I think the 345. I don't get these splits. Bear with me. I'm new to I'm getting back into baseball and all, and these stats be throwing me off and all too as well. I think that's an OPS stat, but I'm gonna let it be and all. He's batting 211. That's all I'm gonna do right there. And I'll do that. Well, the last one's an OPS, so I'm not sure what the 345 and the 352 is. So bear with me. I'll get better. If the Sox keep doing their thing, I'll get better with the stats and all too as well. But I think but battling 211, his OPS which is like a slugging stat and all too as well. But that's a 697 and Rafael Devers can hit a 1200. Can hit a 1200 with an OPS stat. This guy's a legit bat and all too as well. But he's only hitting 697 right now too as well with a slugging stat at least. I think that's scoring 8 runs. Only has 4 doubles, 2 home runs, and 8 RBIs too as well. Honestly, now the big guy, honestly, too, as well. It's kind of funny with the size difference, at least, between Devers and Rafaela, at least, too, as well. But the big guy that's stepping up, at least, too, as well. And there's another stat that my buddy sent to me on the group chat that I want to share with you guys, too, as well, honestly. But what's it called there? Rafaela is hitting at 352 at the batting average, an OPS of 1167. At least, has scored 17 runs, 10 doubles, 7 home runs, and 20 RBIs since the Devers trade. At least, the big part of why the offense has exploded, at least and all too as well, before going into this series and all, because they probably just started facing better pitching. At least all the Sox were, I believe, averaging 10 hits a game over like the 7 to 10 game stretch before the 4 games against the Rays. At least so they were scoring runs against the Reds, scoring runs against the Nationals, scoring runs against the against what's the last name there, Rockies, at least and all too as well. But a linchpin to what that offense is doing right now is Ceddanne Rafaela. Ceddanne Rafaela is a 9-man batter order in baseball, at least and all. This man was number 9. This man's climbing up to number 6 right now too as well, and he's still batting like that too as well. Honestly, with those big home runs that he had in the series against the Rays, so you can argue he was the offense for the Boston Red Sox in the series against the Rays, honestly too as well, with his 3 home runs I believe he had, if not 2. At least in all 2 as well, but big part to why the offense has been continuing to score. Now they're scoring in clutch moments too as well, with his big walk-off, his late game heroics in Game 1 against the Rays too as well, and I think a closing home run against the Rays on Sunday, at least. Also, yeah, it was just 2 home runs, at least on 2 as well. They got lucky with the 1 run on Saturday, at least, no, but still, big part to why this offense is scoring and on 2 as well. Wanted to show the addition to subtraction by the Red Sox critic, the Twitter handle, at least not with this stat too as well, honestly. But just a great run for him, honestly, too as well. There is another stat that my buddy threw out there too as well, comparing his stats over the last 15 games to a certain player's stats. So I just wanted to throw that out too as well. Shout out to Lucas Gainer and all too as well. Shout out to him and all. No, let's see. Shout out to Big Time. Yep, on the pause right now. Over 50 at bats from these 2 players at least. No, I believe which. Oh, am I getting it wrong? Versus my center field. There we go. One second. Yeah. So, bear with me. I can't get it right now, but you basically compare his stats to Aaron Judge, last year's AL MVP, at least. No, we're looking at the hits, where Ceddanne Rafaela has more. I believe the home runs, Aaron Judge has more too as well. The batting average. This is what's interesting about Ceddanne Rafaela right now. He's hitting at these high clips. His batting average, the last 15, 375. The last since June 20th, 352 at least, no, too as well. That is the interesting part of Ceddanne Rafaela's maturation to where he's at right now. Now, can it last at least? No, we're talking about a guy who's hitting like this for 3 weeks, going on to 4 weeks right now too as well, honestly. And he seems to be figuring out more and more going into that break at least. No, he was batting at like a 230, maybe a 250 around there. Now he's batting 270 at least. No, thanks to this run at least. No, if that thing can creep up to 300, I'm very curious where he can be in an AL MVP conversation too as well, honestly. Because I think if he's hitting for average, there's going to be power there too as well, honestly. And the way he's driving in runs, I didn't expect to read 20 RBIs since June 20th, honestly, too as well. He's been smashing it too as well, even the doubles too as well, honestly. The man's killing it with extra base hits right now too as well, honestly. And that's the crazy thing about him too as well. He's been playing at Gold Glove center field, and he was playing second base on Saturday, I believe, for the team and all too as well, which answers questions about their outfielder depth. When you got Wilyer Abreu, Jarren Duran, what's his name, Roman Anthony too as well, honestly. You got Ref Snyder, a utility guy you can play out there too as well. They got a great abundance of outfielders, honestly. So if there was a way to get his bat in the lineup, but able to keep the outfielders' bats in the lineup, put Rafael at second base, which is a weak point for the team and all too as well. There's different scenarios that they've been using it with Romy Gonzalez there, Christian Campbell to start the season, Marcelo Meyer, who should be there. You know what I mean? I would argue him and Rafaela should platoon and put those guys out in the outfield, the first 3 names that I mentioned, and put Bregman at third base, and you have Yoshida as your DH at least and all too as well. I feel like that is going to be your best lineup going forward for this season, at least and all too as well. But against a Rafaela, that's how dope he is, and that's how flexible he is too as well. Outside to the guy on my screen, to Rafael Devers, who didn't even want to play first base and all too as well. Which again, I mentioned this situation in my podcast when he got traded. At least I do understand his whatever you want to call it. I don't even know what to call it, at least, because it is a bit selfish, at least, but I just get his hesitations are helping out the team in that way, at least, and all. When they came to it quick about the third base and the DH thing, at least, I get it. You would hope he just got over it and moved on, at least, on too as well. But they were where they were. They made the move and all, and you just seen the team, including Ceddanne Rafaela, just step up from it too as well, honestly. So there's one more. one more person that I want to mention up about the offense and their crazy stats. At least know where am I going? How long have I been going? 30 minutes. That's cool. That's cool. That's what I kind of wanted to play it at least. Know I'm kind of calling this an emergency pod at least know too as well because this team is hot right now too as well. And the last hot thing I wanted to talk about on this team is this young kid Roman Anthony too as well, who's in. I think he's currently in a 9-game hitting streak. When was this tweet on? July 13th, 419. So I believe this is after, this is after Sunday and all too as well. So he's going into the All-Star break on a 9-game hitting streak and all, batting 369, 4 extra bases. I'm sorry, 6 RBIs, 10 runs, and an OPS of 1044 right now too as well. Honestly, had himself a big home run against them Rockies too as well in the middle of the week. I believe it went for like 419, like something ish like that, 419, 420. I could be lying, maybe 416, 420. It was over 400 for sure, honestly. But had himself a big home run too as well, honestly. It seems he's just what the dopest thing about this young cat, honestly, number one prospect coming in and all too as well, honestly. The man seems to be he's just spraying the ball all over the place, and it seems to be spraying the ball more to left field and all too as well. I feel like he's setting up these pitchers that are trying to see how to pitch to him. He's setting these pitchers up to really start pulling that ball and all too as well because he's hitting the ball so well away. You know what I mean? Hitting the ball away. You know, lefties usually pull the ball to left field at least. No, I know I'm forcing it right now, but he seems to be spraying the ball to left field a lot. Honestly, his first big hit, first big RBI hit when he came to the league was left field and all too as well. His big home run that I'm mentioning was left center field and all. I believe his first home run was a pulled shot at least. No, but I just love the way that he's using the left field a lot, and in the beginning of his career and all too as well. When we look at Meyer, I feel like he's a little bit pull conscious, at least not too as well, even though as of late his big hits have been going to the left side too as well, honestly. So I'm hoping that he's figured it out too as well, honestly. But that's the exciting thing about Roman Anthony since he's been in the majors since I think late May, if not early June at least. So he's been consistently just hitting the ball the other way. I think he had a moment where he was pull conscious and all. I think that's where he kind of struggled at least. But I feel like for a month he's been hitting the ball the other way consistently at least. I think the numbers are just showing it now, honestly, too, as well with these type of numbers and all too as well. When you look at his exit velocity numbers, I think they're just ridiculous. I think he's averaging over 105 off the bat. Outs or hits, he's hitting the ball hard too as well, honestly. Something that you can see as soon as he came into the majors for the team at least and all too as well. So that's another hot bat that's going for the Sox at least and all too as well. Again, you got Yoshida, very dope bat and all too as well. Not a home run hitting bat, but a contact worthy bat and all too as well. And Bregman, the same thing, even though he's showing the power this year too as well, honestly. But another contact bat that's going to be added to this lineup. And also things are hitting all cylinders and all. The only thing not hitting all cylinders right now is probably going to be the schedule for the team at least and all too as well. Right now I'm looking at the July schedule after the All-Star break too as well. Will it be coming in facing the Cubs for 3 at Chicago, facing the Phillies for 3 and at Philly and all, and then the World Series champion Dodgers for 3, thankfully at Fenway at least and all too as well. So those are going to be their next big games coming up on their schedule too as well. It does end with the Twins and all too as well for the end of the month at least, not going into the trade deadline too as well. There's an interesting starting pitcher that fans are garnering for, fans and media guys I should say too as well, because I've been catching up on a whole bunch of Red Sox podcasts and stuff like that too as well. So Joe Ryan, who's a starting pitcher for the Minnesota Twins, has been bantied. I won't say rumored, but definitely bantied to be coming to the Sox at the trade deadline at least, because it does look like the Sox are starting pitcher away from really solidifying themselves as a World Series contender, at least not based on how they're playing, at least not too as well. The reason why I would be excited about it as a Sox fan, you got yourself a legit ace and all too as well, and I believe Giolito and guys like Bayo are not pitching like this if you don't have an ace like that to set the bar in a way, in my opinion, honestly too as well. I think he set a great bar for the whole staff at least. I feel like the staff, when you look at it, has responded to a guy like that. The team hasn't had that in a few years, or a couple years I should say, honestly. Sale, when he was healthy, was that guy at least. He just couldn't stay healthy for most of his tenure with the Sox at least too as well. But it's been a while since you've had a pitcher like that on this team at least. I think it set the bar for the pitching staff honestly too as well. I think you really see it in Giolito and Bayo and even Hunter Dobbins and the Richard Fitz, the young guys. I think you really see it in those young guys, the vets. I feel like guys like Tanner Houck got behind and all too as well going into training camp and all. I think right now he's catching up. The numbers that you see in his rehab starts, especially his latest one, you kind of get excited for, at least all too as well. Walker Buehler, like I mentioned earlier, has had what's called quality starts in his last two starts at least. So maybe you can say maybe he's figuring it out at least. But if one of those guys can step up, I feel like you really don't need a number two and all, because those are the number two guys I expected them to be. Were to be Tanner Houck and or Walker Buehler and all, and you have Giolito and Bayo for depth. Bayo and Giolito are showing off the depth for sure. Honestly, I think you're hoping that one of those two really step up and all too as well. When Hunter Dobbins getting hurt, maybe there's a chance Tanner Houck is pitching in these last 9 games or last 12 games, I should say. Was it 3, 6? Yeah, last 12 games. Of the July at least. I would like to see him. I would like Walker Buehler to step up too as well and continue. He may be facing his old team too as well, so maybe it ups his juices to start playing better too as well, honestly. So, or pitching better, more better than quality at least on too as well. If Walker Buehler goes the rest of the season with quality starts, that's fine. But I think I want a little bit better from a potential number two guy. They are paying him over $22 million at least not for the season. At least I think the anticipation was for him to be a big time pitcher for them and all too as well. So that's where we are. I got 35 minutes in at least, so I think we'll cut it at this point at least not too as well. Wanted to have myself an emergency pod. This is usually a dead time in sports for someone like me who, at least for this podcast, covers the NBA and the NFL at least. And even I was wondering, what am I going to do for the summer? What am I going to do for the summer? And the Sox haven't been good over the past couple summers, so it's, they weren't even being thought about for me to add into the podcast and all too as well. But this run is definitely mad exciting, at least not too as well. These last 4 games bring me back to old memories of how the Sox usually play when they're in contention and all too as well. And it's exciting to say, like the last time they won 10 straight games, they won a World Series and all too as well. And 2 other teams in the last recent history that went on to win 10 straight games in the season won the World Series. And also, it's really exciting and all too as well. There is, this is only a stretch at least and all too as well. We just saw the Blue Jays go on a crazy stretch too as well, honestly, and that's why they lead the AL at least right now too as well. They're keeping their pace and all too as well, but can they continue that through the season? The Sox deserve those same type of questions too as well to that point and all too as well, but we will see. Again, I appreciate you guys tuning in and all too as well. Please support the podcast by clicking on that subscribe button if you guys are listening or watching on the YouTube side, and again, if you guys are listening on the podcast platform side like Apple, Spotify, Overcast now too as well, and what's the other one, Amazon and all too as well. Please drop a like, please drop a rating and all too as well, and add us to your library to help support the podcast too as well. So I'll hear from you guys soon, and have a good one. Thank you.